What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some very entertaining battles in the Jungle Cup featuring XL Shadow Magnemite. And if you didn't know, Magnemite has a much higher attack stat than Magnezone and is even higher than Magneton. So this thing hits super hard, but as you can imagine, can barely even tank a resisted charge move. And this Pokemon was suggested to me by a subscriber for the Jungle Cup, although I have to say Skarmory seems to be its only real target. Even Pokemon like Dragonite or Abomasnow, which you'd expect it to comfortably beat, can both beat Shadow Magnemite in the 2-shield scenario, which certainly isn't ideal. Despite all of that, in the right hands this Pokemon can do absolutely insane things, and you'll get to see that in today's video. But before we get into the battles, I want to quickly mention today's video sponsor, G Fuel. G Fuel is an energy drink aimed specifically towards gamers and is designed to help improve your energy levels, focus, endurance and reaction time, which will all help to improve your overall performance when battling in the Go Battle League. G Fuel have just released a brand new sour version of the fan favourite Fruit Punch flavour, as well as bringing back the Sour Pixel Potion, great flavour, and I will admit, I'm typically not the biggest fan of sour foods and drinks, but I really enjoy both of these flavours, and right now I'm leaning more towards the Sour Fruit Punch flavour if I have to choose just one, but I can definitely recommend both flavours, especially if you are a fan of sour drinks. Now if you want to try any of these revamped G Fuel flavours or any other G Fuel products, make sure you visit the link in the description or in the pinned comment, and you can use the creator code Callum at the checkout to get 20% off your order. But with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What is your preferred time of day to get your GBL battles in? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so heading into the first battle is Shadow Magnemite into Dragonite. So of course I did mention in the 2-shield scenario, this is a losing matchup, but the opponent does have to double shield here. Otherwise we go for the Magnet Bomb, and the opponent no shields, it one-shots the Dragonite. That wasn't even a Shadow Dragonite. They then come in with a Talonflame. I'm able to just barely make it to the discharge, and the opponent for whatever reason no shields once again. And we one-shot two Pokemon back to back, and at this point this is certainly game over. Honestly, the opponent probably just gonna give up, gonna let the next move go through. Not really sure what the opponent was doing there. I guess they just don't believe in shields, but either way we're able to take that game. Now heading into next battle, Abomasnow, the other Pokemon that I mentioned, is gonna be an issue for us in the 2-shield scenario, but once again they do have to double shield, because otherwise once again we're gonna one-shot the Abomasnow. So many opponents just not respecting the damage there. Now they swap into Vigoroth. We're gonna swap with our Hawlucha here. Hawlucha, pretty good answer, although it does only beat Vigoroth in even shield scenarios. Down a shield it is going to struggle, as 2 body slams, as you can imagine, are enough damage to take us out. So we're definitely going to respect the damage here coming from the next body slam. I'm going to overfarm in this matchup, and I will be throwing on the CMP tie with the next charge move coming from this Vigoroth. So the opponent is going to let the Flying Press go through. They come in with a Quagsire. We're going to fire off the next Flying Press straight away, and at this point this should either grab the final shield or not, but we're going to come in with our Shadow Dragonite. I'm just going to respect the damage here coming from a potential Stone Edge. The opponent full sends the Stone Edge there, and now we can rightly overfarm. We're going to put them into range where honestly Dragon Claw probably would have taken them out, but Superpower does slightly more damage. We take out the Quagsire, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there. Into next game we see Shadow Magnemite into another Abomasnow. So let's see if the opponent is going to respect the damage this time around. Once again we're just going to throw straight away here, and a Magnet Bomb coming through is going to grab a shield from the opponent. So the opponent respects the damage. Honestly, I'm going to no shield this first charge move here. Don't expect them to go for an energy ball, but you can see a resisted Weather Ball does that much damage to us. They then come in with a Scrafty, which isn't ideal. We do get off a Magnet Bomb, and that does a ton of damage to the Scrafty. We can now come in with our Hawlucha and completely wall them. Going to be resisting anything they throw other than Acid Spray, which of course isn't going to do an awful lot of damage. They go for the foul play there. Unfortunately not quite able to get the Poison Jab farm down, but this is just a power-up punch, which is also resisted. Doesn't deal that much damage. I think this is the only time in any of these battles that I actually threw an Aerial Ace up against Trevenant. They no-shield it. We swap into our Shadow Dragonite, and we are just going to fire off any charge move we can get to. We actually make it to the Dragon Claw on the CMP tie with this Abomasnow. The opponent is going to shield that using their final shield, although you don't see the animation. At this point we're just going to fire off that Flying Press straight away, and then I realise my health is actually really low. I'm not sure if I can fast move, farm down the Trevenant. It's going to be really close, but it ends up being a simultaneous KO. We still had both our shields, but it ends up being a tie. So GG's to that opponent there. Into next battle, a very good lead matchup for us. Didn't see too many Tentacle or Toxapex, but this is actually very dominant for the Magnemite, although I will still have to shield a Scald because Scald is basically going to one-shot us, so definitely going to respect the damage. They go for the Scald here, and they are going to get the attack debuff, which is unfortunate because that means a Magnet Bomb will no longer be enough damage to actually take out a Bomber Snow from full health, and you can see these Thunder Shocks, they are resisted, they're not doing much damage. We go for Magnet Bomb number 2, dealing big damage, but they do just barely hang on, and I can't really afford to shield here as I won't get the farm down, so instead, gonna let it go down there, come in with my Horlucha, go for that Poison Jab farm down, they come back in with the Tentacle, and I try to catch a Scald here, and the opponent is actually going to bait with an Acid Spray, which certainly isn't ideal for me. They're going to make it to another Acid Spray. I have to just no-shield this. I should be able to make it to a Dragon Claw, and the opponent actually swaps into a Whiscash, so that isn't too bad for us. Obviously, I would prefer to go for a Superpower there, but I don't get a huge farm down either. So I'm going to overfarm, throw on the CMB type with the Scald here, and this Flying Press is going to do big damage. It actually takes out the Whiscash from that range, and the opponent is just going to concede the match there. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Shadow Magnemite into Steelix. Now this is a massive core breaker for my team. Of course I do have a fighting type in the back, but Poison Jab is triple resisted. It's not that great of a matchup, and Steelix is bulky enough to tank a Flying Press as well. So even if we do land the Flying Press, it's still not going to be that good for us. They go for Crunch there. Honestly, I was expecting the opponent to go for one extra Dragon Tail first before throwing, so that's why I didn't try and make that catch. We also bank a charge move on the Magnemite before swapping out there, just in case we need it in the end game, and here the opponent is going to throw just before we make it to Flying Press number 2. Really smart play there from the opponent. Honestly, I just want to grab a shield back from the opponent. It would be worse if they let this go through here, but we go for the Flying Press. The opponent does shield that up, and that's okay. Now at this point, I think I'm going to come in with my Shadow Dragonite, or I'm trying to, but then I accidentally waited too long, and they just come in with the Shadow Magnemite. We go for one extra Thunder Shock by accident. We barely get off the charge move, and at this point, it's going to be a Bomber Snow in the back. We can at least make it to a Superpower. Superpower will be taken out Bomber Snow, but this is certainly game over. And at this point, the opponent is just toying with me. They're saying, you know what, I'm going to make you top left, and I'm saying, nope, I'm going to make you take me out here. They're able to take me out with one Dragon Tail, and unfortunately we do lose that game. Honestly, not a lot we could have done up against that team, but GG's to that opponent. Into next battle, awful lead leading into a Shadow Swampert. We're going to say swap into Horlucha. Unfortunately, this isn't the best matchup, but you're going to see Flying Press does a ton of damage here. Flying Press does over 50% of their health, meaning a second Flying Press will threaten to KO. So I'm actually going to shield here. They did take quite a while to swap out, so I should be able to outpace them to back-to-back Flying Presses. Actually, I think it might be a CMP tie, but either way, Flying Press number 2 grabs that first shield from the opponent. We make it to Flying Press number 3, so I'm just going to fire it off straight away, grabbing both shields from the opponent. They're going to get a very nice farm down, but that's okay, we can tank this. I would say comfortably, but honestly, you're going to see Brave Bird does over half our health, and that is double resisted on our Shadow Magnemite. That's insane, considering as well, Skarmory, not exactly the most attack-weighted Pokemon. But anyways, we're going to shield the first move there. Wasn't sure if it could be a Sludge Wave. At this point, this is definitely just going to be a Hydro Cannon. I'm trying to go for the full Dragon Red farm down, and we just barely get there in time, which is absolutely huge for me. We're now going to overfarm massively here with the Dragonite, go for the Dragon Claw, taking out the Skarmory, and they've got Dragalge in the back, and now this is looking really good. We go for the Dragon Claw, dealing over half the health, and Shadow Magnemite will make it to a Magnet Bomb. Honestly, even a Discharge would take them out there, but it doesn't matter. Magnet Bomb easily gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, a very positive lead matchup for us. The opponent's going to say swap into a quick attack Diggersby. So I actually respond with my Shadow Dragonite here just because I'm thinking Poison Jab is resisted. I don't think Flying Press would quite one-shot them, and the opponent full sends a Hyper Beam. They did farm up to it, of course, so I was going to respect the damage there, and now I can quite considerably overfarm. We go for that Superpower, taking out the Diggersby, and at this point, unfortunately, we have debuffed our attack and our defense, so the opponent probably will be able to go for a full wing attack farm down, but the energy is not going to be that useful up against my Shadow Magnemite unless they are running Water Pulse, which I think is quite unlikely, although it did get a buff this season, so maybe they are running it, I don't know. But we go for back-to-back Dragon Claws, and now they have a Unnovan Stunfisk in the back, and unfortunately, possibly the worst core breaker for the Magnemite and the Horlucha, but at least they are running Mud Shot, so we aren't resisting it on Horlucha, meaning one Discharge will not be enough damage to take us out. They will have to throw a second charge move to get rid of us, but unfortunately, yeah, there's just not a lot we can do here. Once again, Poison Jab being resisted really doesn't help us out in this matchup. We're going for that Flying Press. Flying Press is going to grab that first shield from the opponent, but at this point, my only real win condition is hoping the opponent tries to make a catch on their Mantine and we get a full Thundershock farm down, and the opponent is going to do that, but they've got a charge reloaded anyways. They go for Ice Beam, it's resisted damage. We do get the Thundershock farm down, but we're at 1 HP, so even if I got back-to-back Magnet Bombs, it doesn't matter, it is resisted. It wouldn't take out Unova Stunfisk, but I tried to make it look at least a little bit close there, but GG's to that opponent. Into the next game, we're going to see Shadow Dragonite in the lead. They're going to save swap into Vigoroth, and we can punish them with my Hawlucha. The opponent actually over farms here, so I can go straight for Flying Press. Flying Press is going to one-shot the Vigoroth, and that is very nice. And then I'm going to come back in with the Dragonite, and I'm thinking I should just barely live this actually, although I don't know if I will get off a charge move here, as one Dragon Breath unfortunately does take us out before we can connect with a Flying Press, which is unfortunate. And I have mentioned, well, I actually haven't mentioned, but I've gone Flying Press in matchups where it is resisted, because even though it is resisted and Aerial Ace would be neutral, it still does often slightly more damage than Aerial Ace. It's only in matchups like up against Trevenant where there is a significant difference between resisted and super effective damage that you would actually just go Aerial Ace. But either way, we can just hard wall this Talonflame there, gonna double shield if we had to, the opponent recognizing nothing they can do, so they just concede the match. Into next battle, we're going to see Skarmory once again save swapping into Vigoroth, and we can respond with Hawlucha, and once again they overfarm. I'm not sure if they're going for the rock side there, but that's fine with me. We can just go straight for the Flying Press. We can tank one Body Slam, and we will always be able to tank one Body Slam, and even in the 2 shield scenario, always make it to 3 Flying Presses before they make it to 4 Body Slams. So we are now going to overfarm here, and we're going to throw on the CMP type with the next Body Slam coming from this Vigoroth. The opponent is going to double shield the Vigoroth, so you can see we are very low. And even though we've not got the best IVs on our Hawlucha, we only get to 1484. We can make it to a third and final Flying Press, just about in the nick of time, taking out the Vigoroth. We regain switch advantage there, and they've got Skarmory coming back in. We can now come in with our Shadow Dragonite, and hopefully the opponent doesn't have Blizzard. They actually didn't farm to it here. This was just one before a potential Blizzard. They go for Scald. They do get the attack drop, which is unfortunate, which means I'm actually going to have to go for a Superpower here, just because it does more damage, and even then Superpower doesn't quite take them out, but it doesn't really matter. I can just let this move take us out here. We can come in. I'm actually going to go for a Thundershock farm down. These mud shots are double super effective damage, but it doesn't really matter. We can make it to a discharge, and you're going to see even a discharge does huge damage to the Skarmory, nearly one-shotting them. I can just fully no bubble the next discharge, and it still takes out the Skarmory, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Shadow Magnemite into Shadow Magnezone. So this is a bit of an awkward matchup here. We will outpace them to the first charge move because I am running Thundershock. Going to go straight for Discharge, and the opponent actually shields that up there. So of course Discharge is a slightly worse move than Magnet Bomb, but Magnet Bomb is going to be double resisted, just like this Mirror Shot here is, and the opponent's going to swap there. I didn't see what they came in with. I think that was something with Dragon Breath. It ends up being Altaria. So we chip there with the Magnet Bomb. We can now snipe with the Shadow Dragonite here, and the opponent, I think they do have a charge reloaded, so we're actually just going to go for the extra Dragon Breath damage. We're then going to shield this up, and honestly, I misplayed this massively. I just didn't expect the opponent to actually shield this up there, so I overfarm as much as possible, but then they can just shield that up, and now they take me out with the Volt Switch damage. And yeah, that was not a smart play whatsoever. So we can come in with the Hawlucha. You can see my switch clock is coming up. I believe they're 1 away from the next charge move, so I'm going to shield this up. I expected the opponent to try and make a catch there or something, so I actually didn't swap out there, but the opponent just goes straight for the wild charge, easily one-shotting the Hawlucha, and they can snipe me with the Vigoroth, and unfortunately we do lose that game. So GG's to the opponent there, very well played. Into the next battle, we see Whimsicott in the lead, so this is actually a very good matchup for us. We're going straight for the Magnet Bomb, and Magnet Bomb will be one-shotting the Whimsicott. They're now going to come in with Talonflame, we're going to come in with the Hawlucha, and they come in with a Lantern. So this is actually perfect for me. Honestly, Hawlucha not going to have the best matchup up against Talonflame, but this means we will align our Shadow Dragonite to the Talonflame. We should be looking good here, but the opponent's going to go for a huge overfarm. Actually, no, they're just going to go for a full Spark farm down, which honestly doesn't put me in the best position. We're going to come in with the Dragonite. I was hoping the opponent would just blind throw a Surf, but I think they did wait just a few seconds, or a split second there, to make sure they saw what came in. And at this point, I'm not going to double shield. It is just another Surf, which is huge for me. Excuse me there. We're now going to go for the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent. We can swap into our Shadow Magnemite, and now I got very concerned. You can see one Incinerate nearly does half our health. They're going to boost their attack, but we are just barely able to tank a second Incinerate. Live with about 2 HP remaining. Get the Thundershock farm down there, and now we can just Dragon Breath, farm down the Lantern, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there. Into next game, we see Shadow Abomasnow in the lead. So, of course, not ideal for us. This is even worse up against a Shadow Abomasnow because the Weather Ball is going to do even more damage to the Shadow Magnemite. We've got the shield there. I'm going to no shield the first charge. We can't really afford to shield it up. You can see Weather Ball does big damage in this matchup. And the opponent's going to swap into Runerigus, and I was too slow to react there. I wanted to try and bank a charge move, and then I just froze. Didn't do anything. Didn't try and make a swap there. Didn't throw a charge move. Did nothing, and now it's not looking too good for us, as they also go for Rock Tomb, debuffing my attack, but we have put them into range where one Dragon Claw will still get the KO, and we've also got a superpower loaded, so we're firing it off straight away. The opponent doesn't respect the damage, and then they come in with Lantern, and now things are looking slightly more positive for us, especially since they don't even farm to a Thunderbolt. We can just no shield the Surf there. I'm hoping the opponent lets us go through, because Flying Press is going to hit like an absolute truck. The opponent does let it go through, and at this point I can just come in with my Shadow Dragonite and go for a full Dragon Breath farm down, taking out the Lantern, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into the next game, and this is a crazy battle, I have to say. We lead into Minun, which is very unexpected. I honestly don't really know what to do here. Of course, I know I will resist everything, but Shadow Magnemite, you can see, these are non-stab quick attacks, and they're getting me into the yellow health range. We're going to fire off a second Magnet Bomb here, and the opponent's now going to swap into a Breloom, which is also very spicy from the opponent. You love to see it. Now, I realize here, it's probably going to be Dynamic Punch. It could have been a Sludge Bomb, which is neutral damage, and I know just how attack weighted Breloom is, so I actually respect the damage there. They are now going to come back in with their Minun, so we're going to fire off that Flying Press immediately, and the opponent is going to just no shield the Minun, but then they've got a Piloswine in the back, and honestly, this isn't looking too good. We need to make it to back-to-back Flying Presses here. We fire off the first one, and we just barely make it, or barely don't make it, sorry, to that next Flying Press. We need to make a catch right now, so I'm going to farm, wait till they make it to back-to-back charge moves, but the opponent holds onto the energy. Really nice play. At this point, this is game over, so I'm going to no shield, but they go for a BM high horsepower, and I thought we could win this game, but I'm at literally 1 HP, so if I shielded that, it would still take me out anyways, as you do 1 damage through the shield, and the opponent with the craziest BM is able to take me out there. So GG's to that opponent. Also a really spicy team, so you know, I really don't mind losing 2 teams like that. Honestly, it's kind of, well, it's really fun actually. But into the next battle, another Abomasnow in the lead. Once again, can't really shield this up. They go for Icy Wind there, and that will actually allow me to at least outpace them to the next charge move. So we can go for Magnet Bomb number 2, and because this is Shadow on Shadow, even with the debuff, that should still take them out there. So they double shield their lead, but they do have a lot of energy. So we come in with the Hawlucha here. I'm hoping that I should be able to make it to a Flying Press and win CMP up against the Abomasnow as they make it to a third Icy Wind, and we do exactly that. So Flying Press will still be enough damage to take out Abomasnow, and they're going to come in with a Lantern. So we bank just a little bit of energy there. We swap into our Shadow Dragonite, and the opponent, I'm not really sure what they're doing here. They just go straight for a Surf. Surf not going to do much damage. They then come in with a Heracross. Now, that chip damage actually might have been a smart play, as that might allow them to fully counter farm me down, but no, we're actually able to take them out with 1 more Dragon Breath, and even come out with another Dragon Claw loaded, and this chip damage will certainly put them into range where 1 Flying Press will very comfortably take out the Lantern. So we go for the Flying Press here. Flying Press will be taking out the Lantern, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next battle, we're going to see Shadow Magnemite into Shadow Whiscash. So certainly not a great lead. We're going to say swap into our Hawlucha, and the opponent is choosing to stay in. Now, unfortunately, Poison Jab is resisted once again. It's not great up against these ground types. So yeah, that is maybe not the best team building from me, but obviously I'm trying to use sort of slightly spicier Pokemon that you don't typically see, and I don't think I've seen anyone using Hawlucha in this meta. Of course, it is very difficult to obtain. But anyways, we're going to come back in with the Shadow Magnemite. Magnemite, going straight for that Magnet Bomb, making sure we throw it before they make it even to a Dragon Claw. They're going to come in with the Whiscash straight away, realizing my switch clock is not up yet, so very smart play on the opponent's end. They do fire off that Mud Bomb there, and what that is going to do is allow me to at least bank a charge move, come in with my Shadow Dragonite. We're going to no shield once again, and unfortunately they got double Dragon in the back, so landing those Scalds there basically just puts me into perfect Dragon Breath farm down range. Not a lot we can do there, and the opponent's able to Dragon Breath, farm down the Shadow Magnemite, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next battle, a much better lead matchup for me. But then they come in with a Dragonite, and at this point I'm thinking it's probably going to be Skarmory Double Dragon this time around. So honestly, I don't really know what to do here. Possibly should have come in with my Hawlucha, just because I feel like Hawlucha is going to have a worse time up against the Altaria. At least with Dragonite being pretty glassy, we could sort of do some work in that matchup, but either way, we're now going to fire off a superpower into the Skarmory, coming back in, dealing some decent damage there, and at this point, I'm actually already nearly in the yellow health range on my Shadow Magnemite, so despite double resisting everything Skarmory can possibly throw, I'm actually going to use a shield here. The opponent full sends a Brave Bird, and they are running Altaria in the back, so we're going to fire off the Magnet Bomb. Hopefully this goes no shielded, but they do shield it up. We're going to come in with the Hawlucha, and like I've mentioned already, Flying Press is going to do ever so slightly more damage in this matchup than an Aerial Ace, despite both being exactly the same energy and Aerial Ace being neutral, whilst Flying Press is resisted. Flying Press is just such a good move, but in this matchup, it's not going to help me. The opponent also perfectly overfarms there to allow them to make it to a Sky Attack one turn before we make it to a Magnet Bomb, but either way, from that range, they could have actually just fully double resisted, Steel Wing farm me down with their Skarmory, and we would have lost that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into next battle, we're going to see a Swampert in the lead. They're going to respond with Skarmory, but once again, incredibly slow to swap out, so we're going to fire off that Flying Press on the CMP tie with this Sky Attack or a Brave Bird. It's probably just going to be a Sky Attack, and the opponent does go for Sky Attack, but with such a significant energy advantage, I will make it to back-to-back Flying Presses before they make it to the next Sky Attack. So firing off the first one, grabbing that first shield from the opponent, and making it to Flying Press number 3, and this will be grabbing both shields from the Skarmory, and it is a CMP tie as well, so that's best case scenario for us. We can now come back in with the Shadow Magnemite, and we will get the perfect Thundershock farm down there, coming out with a ton of loaded energy. I'm actually just going to fire off a resisted Magnet Bomb here, because this will put them into Dragon Breath farm down range for my Shadow Dragonite. The opponent swaps out, but unfortunately they've got Dragalge in the back, so this Dragon Claw will be enough damage to take out Dragalge. They come back in with the Shadow Swampert. Honestly, I should have just no-shielded this, but we're going to shield anyways, play it safe, go for the Dragon Breath farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, another Whiscash in the lead. So we're going to swap into our Hawlucha here, and once again the opponent is going to stay in and fire off a Scald before we make it to a Flying Press, and once again these Poison Jabs being resisted is not ideal for us, but then they swap into Vigoroth, which is a very questionable play, so I'm just going to stay in with my Hawlucha, of course, go for that Flying Press. The opponent is going to overfarm, allow me to make it to another Flying Press. Flying Press is going to grab both shields, and it's a CMP tie as well, which is the best case scenario for us. Now I've seen already they've got Vigoroth and Whiscash, so Shadow Magnemite not having a lot of play in this battle so far, but we're going to come in with the Shadow Dragonite. I'm going to shield the first charge move, and I think they are 3 away from the next Body Slam if they go for Body Slam here, which they do, so we're going to throw on the CMP tie. Of course, Shadow Dragonite will be winning CMP in this matchup. Dragon Claw will be taking out the Vigoroth, and they come back in with the Whiscash, so clearly something in the back that is quite weak to the Shadow Dragonite, or they've just got another really hard response to my Magnemite in the back, so either way, I'm definitely going to be shielding this up. I should be able to Dragon Breath farm them down. They go for Scald, and they don't get the debuff, and it's a Quagsire in the back, so I'm going to count 2-7, make the catch on my Magnemite, but honestly, this isn't that good for me, because Stone Edge will put me into range where they can perfectly farm me down with Mud Shot, and then here I make a huge mistake. I don't know why I didn't throw that in superpower range. I got greedy with my energy. I figured I need a few more Dragon Breaths before I could throw, and we end up losing that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already, and if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video, and if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.